A new and disturbing analysis shows attacks against women have surged on social media in the days following Donald Trump's election win. Hateful and sexist phrases like "your body, my choice" and "get back to the kitchen" are getting millions of clicks online. White nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes posted "your body, my choice" forever on election night. It's been viewed more than 90 million times. So does this abuse amount to right-wingers just indulging in online trolling, or is it a glimpse into a deeper sexism in this country? Let's discuss with my panel, social entrepreneur and women's lifestyle advocate Nadia Okamoto, CNN political commentator Margaret Hoover, and welcoming back Michaela Carr, GOP strategist. Ladies, it's great to have you on. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. Nadia, I want to start with you. This phrase, "your body, my choice," is rewording and degrading a rallying cry used by women in support of reproductive rights. Have you or your online community experienced any of these attacks since the election?
I mean, I think that it has not just been since the election. I think it's been over the last, let's say, 8 years since we first saw, Donald Trump really come onto the national political scene. And I think that it's because some of this rhetoric has not only been normalized, it's also been celebrated. And so I think that it's something that I've experienced as a content creator who talks a lot about women's health and reproductive freedoms. I have about 6 million followers across socials. And so it's been in my comments. And I think that they're, since the election is definitely, I think, an affirmation of confidence from some of those commenters as well.
So, Margaret, what is your take on this? Why do you think these far-right trolls and extremists now feel more emboldened to hurl these sexist attacks?
Look, certainly there has been, Pam, a degrading of the rhetoric and the respectfulness with which we engage with one another, and tone does come from the top. So we do see that from the crassness and the rude language and rhetoric from our politicians, particularly from Donald Trump, and how women are treated. However, I think we also need to be really thoughtful and realistic about the spread of this online and recognize that there is an online ecosystem that ratchets up and divides Americans using incidences and, frankly, embedded biases, divisions between the genders. It is intended specifically to tear Americans apart. Oftentimes, this is happening by influencing factors out beyond our borders. We saw this in 2016 when there was a concerted effort by Russian trolls to take advantage of the division after the George Floyd murder to tear Americans apart. And so, when Nick Fuentes, an extremist who represents no part of the majority of Americans, has a social media post that then gets, is seen by 90 million people, it doesn't mean to me immediately that, yeah, we have so much more misogyny than we thought. Certainly there is more misogyny than we thought, but is it 90 million impressions, or are there outside influences like the CCP on TikTok, like Russian internet trolls, like many other nefarious factors who would prefer to see America tear itself apart from the inside, influencing those impressions?
I think those are the right questions to be asking, right? And I think that's really important. But it also raises the question, as we were discussing, Michaela, of, you do have people like Nick Fuentes putting this out there. Are they emboldened? Is this just the winning side taking it too far? Or is it a real glimpse into deeper, widespread sexism throughout this country on the far right? What do you say?
I think Margaret made some really good points. First of all, I don't think that that person should be platformed in any way, certainly not on corporate media, certainly not on media that is watched by reasonable, sensible, thoughtful people trying to understand the world. I don't think that that is helpful to the dialogue. And I think that now the image that you're talking about, or the post that you're talking about, will probably be viewed more times since we are now discussing it amongst polite company. I don't think that it's even a sign of him being emboldened because he doesn't have feelings or emotions. I would also say he didn't want Trump to win because Trump was not racist for him. So I don't think this is even a sign of the winning side kind of gloating. I just think this is somebody trying to make money off people's naivete, and we should kind of maybe take a step back and get off social media.
So I just want to push back a little bit, Michaela, because I mean, we're also citing actual data. And I know I see your point about platforming someone like him. We're not platforming him. We're talking about something that's actually happened, reflected by the data. And what is driving that? We don't know how much foreign influence is behind that or anything like that. But we heard Nadia speak about her actual experience and what she has gone through over the last several years, and also just after the election. But Nadia, to bring you back into this conversation, in your view, you believe it goes to the top, but the exit polls in the New York Times shows that 45% of women voted for Trump. So what do you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think that a specific call out too is that sexism in this country isn't a new thing. This has been deeply embedded into society and societies around the world since the beginning of time. But, I would say that I think that what the Trump campaign did really strategically actually is really make hazy where what Trump's stance was when it came to reproductive rights, abortion, when it came to even, the side of respecting women, right? And I think that that was very strategic on Trump's part. And I would say that I think that that led to, in many ways, women, depending on what their impression was, feeling very much in support of him as well, right? And so I think that, again, sexism isn't only on one side. It isn't only in this current time. I think that it has shown itself more and more throughout history. I think that when I kind of bring it back to Trump, I would say that some of his language, which is derogatory or disrespectful towards women, or just in regards to gender equality, has become quite normalized, right? From when we first saw him running for president and he said things that, many Americans said, oh, if he says that and it's publicized, he will never be elected, to, him, being faced with allegations of sexual assault and some of those being proven, and then him continuing to be able to be our president as well. And so I think that in many ways, some of that behavior has been normalized. But again, I don't think this behavior or even the beliefs are isolated to just one party or to this specific moment in time. I think that they've absolutely been normalized. And so that's something we have to watch out for. And again, I think that it could be dangerous to just say, oh, this sexism is influenced by one person or even foreign parties, because these issues have absolutely existed here.
I want to bring back in Michaela to get your thoughts on this, because you heard what Nadia said. There's also these posts calling for the repeal of the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. It surged over 600% on X and other forums like Reddit last week. That doesn't mean everyone supports that, but it is gaining traction. What do you say to the women watching right now who do have real concern that perhaps some of their rights will be rolled back under a Trump presidency? What do you say to them?
I think if people have real concern, they probably should get their information somewhere, not Reddit. Look, if having access to abortion was a #1 issue for you in this election, then the top of the ticket didn't matter, because post-Dobbs, it's a state's issue. And if having access or pushing pro-life agenda was a #1 issue to you, that meant the top of the ticket didn't matter to you, because post-Dobbs, it's back to the states. The Dobbs decision said that this issue is now up to the people and their representatives. And so if you live in a state where the access has been more restricted or access is completely unrestricted, both states of course exist, then you can make decisions based on where you live and you can vote on that way. But this idea that post-Dobbs, Trump wasn't clear, I don't think that that's entirely accurate. I think he was very clear. He said he would not sign an abortion ban. He said he did not support having that be decided at the federal level. He said he supported the repeal of Roe, which was simply Dobbs, which put it back to the states. And so I think that the fear mongering and the trying to make people terrified of their own government didn't work as an election campaign. And I think moving forward, we just need to speak with a little bit more truth and honesty about what the threats are and are not.